Welcome in to the LFC transfer room. Off of a deflating, upsetting, pretty crap defeat. I'm Jack, Matty, Steve, Ben with us here today. Boys, we were relentlessly positive in the pre-match. And I said
I'm still positive.
I know you are, Matty. We're going to get to that. We can't have that just yet. We cannot have the positivity just yet. We need to get out the way. Yes.
Big time.
Well,
I think it would have been a different pre-match if I was involved because
and would it have been a different match? I don't think so. So I mean, we would have been sad.
Different pre-match talk if I was involved. I think because I could see this coming. To be honest, I felt like Liverpool were disrespecting Real Madrid in the build-up to the game because at the end of the day, this team has Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro, and when they're on it, and when they're fit, and when they're good, they're the best midfield in the world.
They were. What I always say after a defeat is that we can only try and control our mood and bounce back. So vent, get all the negative stuff out of here, and we'll go and talk through it together. So I think there's a lot of different things you can talk about with this game: the lack of energy, the lack of fight, the lack of drive, the team selection, players underperforming. I don't think there was a player on that field that can say that they had a good match, even a 5 out of 10. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, I agree.
Thiago.
Maybe Kabak at one point. But
maybe Kabak and Thiago.
I don't think Thiago did anything. To be honest, when he came
let's talk the match.
He changed the game. The first half was completely different to the start of the second half when Thiago came on. He completely changed the game there. Their third goals what killed us off, but I think prior to that, Thiago completely changed the game for Liverpool. I think we looked back to being more like Liverpool than what it was in the first half.
Defensively, was still very poor, and
so
I think his lack of pace is just showing every game. Yeah. There was one time when Real Madrid were counter-attacking, and he was trying to chase down Asensio from the halfway line, and he couldn't get near him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really worrying in a Liverpool team. We can't have those kind of midfielders.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. I think Matty disagrees slightly. We'll get into that in a second. I probably agree.
I agree with that. Yeah,
it was a bad
yeah. He was getting rings around him, wasn't he? Fabinho. That's what it was.
I can't believe Manny wasn't taken off. Why did we persist with Diego? Like, why did we take Diego Jota off and persist with Manny?
I think Jota was poor today, though, as well.
I think if anything, he was creating our chances. Everything was coming through him.
It's part of the cause, though. If you watch the game on Saturday and compare to today, we were pressing from the front. He looked angry. Marnie looked angry. Just pressing. Like, no way should Kroos pick up the ball in his own half. Look up for 5 seconds and find Vinicius running through on goal between the two centre-backs.
Especially when he's the best at doing that. And
especially that. But it's like you've seen it 75 minutes in, Militao got a dispossessed. Could be pressed them from the front and they shit themselves. And then you go to the first 5 minutes, they're passing it along the back. Courtois looks back and sees Vasquez left foot, like right back. And it's like that 5 times in the first 15 minutes and then like that. And then we're on the back foot straight away.
It's like we didn't prepare for Real Madrid, to be honest. Like, we're coming up against the best midfield in the world. And it looks like we had no preparation. We just allowed them to play their game. And I think that's really concerning from a Liverpool perspective.
Yeah.
That we just let them play their game and we had no plan, nothing.
Let's talk through the match chronologically. Started with that Vinicius goal. Credit where credit is due. It was a phenomenal takedown. It was a phenomenal finish. We disrespected him in the pre-match, saying he couldn't finish. He shut us up. He had a very good performance. You have to say that.
I said midweek he would be the danger man for Madrid, and that's proven right.
Yeah, that ball from Kroos. I mean, Steve hit on the nail. Or hand on the nail. I don't know. I mean, you cannot allow a player with the passing range and ability of Toni Kroos to look up, have several seconds to digest what run his teammates making, and ping a pass over the heads of Nat Phillips and Ozan Kabak.
Loads of people are blaming Allison for the third goal as well, which I don't think it was on him.
I don't think Allison. He could have done better on all three. I don't think it was his fault for any of them though.
You don't leave that much space for someone in the box.
It's gone through Phillips' legs as well, hasn't it? And then from a goalkeeper perspective, Allison came the opposite way. So it's just a catalogue of errors, though. If you look at that, but if you look at that from that end, the throw-in, you see Fabinho strolling, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and it's to the byline. He puts it back and it's a goal. It's just a catalogue of mistakes, and it's literally Sunday League stuff at times. And we've said it. Well, you said it all season. It's just.
We've talked.
I think it's time. I think our dynasty is coming to an end, in all honesty, and I think we are going to rebuild in the summer. I think we're going to get. We need a few players to rejuvenate that squad, because it just feels like some of our players are kind of coming to the end of their time. And Liverpool, like, I'm not talking about like our main players, but I'm talking about like the likes of Shaqiri, who came on, didn't really impact the game. Potentially the likes of Keita. I mean, I would hate to give up on him, but right now the signs are not good. And I think those sort of like squad players, I think, I don't know, I'm just kind of worried for them.
So the Keita sub pulled off 41 minutes before halftime is the big talking point for Thiago. We've talked about it a bit in our group chat. I think it was the right sub. I think Keita, he had that one run where he took on about 4 Real Madrid players, flashed his quality, he fed it to Jota, but it was a bad pass. That was about the only thing of positivity that he did. He has the technical ability. He has a different kind of flair that we don't have on the pitch. But I'm seeing a lot of Keita is done. Let's talk about that sub. Was it the right time? Was it the right sub?
Probably was though, wasn't it? But then you see people slagging off Klopp for doing it, but you've got to try something different against these teams. They have not an age in midfield, but you've got a 29, 30, 35-year-old in midfield. So you think if you put someone who's quite versatile and quite agile in them kind of positions like Keita, he's going to look to exploit them gaps. But then it turned out to be wrong. It is Klopp's fault to a degree, but you can't start blaming him.
Yeah, I think the idea was good. I mean, essentially, Keita has the pace. He is good at pressing. He can win the ball, but he just did none of that. When it came down to it, it just didn't seem like the Naby Keita that we know he can be.
But so do we know though? Like, what's Naby Keita really done in the 3-4 years he's been at Liverpool now, apart from get constantly injured? He has got potential, but then it's like the same way everyone used to call Adam Lallana a kid until the day he left and he was 29, 30. He's got potential, but he's not living in the Prem. He's not good enough for the Premier League. We've realised that. He shouldn't have been thrown into a quarter-final against Real Madrid. If we got half of the case that we had that was at Leipzig, fair enough. He might have been decent, but I think
let's be honest, he's had some brilliant games for Liverpool. Let's not
games. He's been there for 4 years, Ben, and we're talking games. He should be more consistent than that with Liverpool Football Club. I think Naby Keita is done.
He's injured. He's injured all the time, so he can't become consistent.
I'll be.
That's why we should get rid of him.
Devil's advocate for Matty.
And that's why I don't get rid of Van Dijk. He's probably missed more games than Keita over the course of the 2 years. If we're going
he hasn't.
I think
probably has.
This kind of
he hasn't. I can't believe you just said the words get rid of. Like, no, I can't believe you just said that.
By that logic, if he's not playing, I mean,
no. But Van Dijk's tore his ACL. It's a long-term injury. Keita plays 2 games and is out for a game. You can't say he's missed less games than Van Dijk. Van Dijk's been injured once in his career at Liverpool, and it was a bad injury with his ACL. Keita's plays 2 games, then he's out for 2 games.
Here's what I think. I have a major issue with a lot of these comments, a lot of this rhetoric. The word "done." Football is a game of form. Class is permanent. Form is temporary. Is Sadio Mane a crap forward? If you watch this match, the last few matches, you'd think that guy has got a lot of potential, a lot of ability on the ball, but cannot put a circular ball in an 8-yard by 8-foot net. If you look at Naby Keita's last couple of years, you think this is a guy who cannot stay fit. You look at him at Leipzig, he had that ridiculous potential. He has not gotten hurt since he's been on this new rehab program, and I'm not going to give up on him yet. And I'm very frustrated that Klopp dropped him in on this game.
I think it's very reactionary. I think he's had one bad game after coming back from a long time,
Yeah.
a long injury.
Subs.
We need to be more patient with him, to be honest.
But it's similar. It's similar to Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's had these injuries now. But if you drop him in last game, it's Arsenal. It doesn't, irrespective if Arsenal have been poor the last 4, 5, 6 games. It's not the point. If you're a Premier League standard like Oxlade-Chamberlain, you need to take your chances you get them. And if he doesn't take his chance, then he's not good enough.
I think we're not taken into account.
But how many times do we need to sit and say Naby Keita needs a chance?
One at a time, Matty.
We're not taking into account the fact that when you come back from an injury, one of the most important things for a player is to play football regularly. The reason why Oxlade and Keita and all of our injured players cannot acclimatise is because they're not being played regularly. You can't expect Ox, who is not match fit, who hasn't played the amount of games needed to be at his best, to come on against the likes of Real Madrid, Arsenal, and impact games like they would do normally. I think
you can get match fit though through training. That's the whole point of training.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. If you go and ask any person who's played football at a decent level, you can get fit. Yeah, but you can get fit enough to make impacts in games through training. You don't get fit like to be up through a game. You get fit in training. You impress in training. You've got to get fit through your training.
The intensity of a football match is so much more than a training session. At a training session, you're not going to have the same amount of intensity, and that's just the case because people are not going to go in for 50-50 with the same intensity as they would in a game because you don't want to injure your teammates.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact. So you can't get match fit. I'd much rather we put Ox into the under 23s, give him a regular round of game times.
But then you're saying the intensity. You're telling me that you can get match fit for Premier League and Champions League football in the under 23s. No, you can't. It's can't.
Way more competitive. It's way more competitive than a training session.
You can't. If you're using your logic about what you're saying about you can't get fit in training, you can't get fit in the under 23s.
It's way more competitive than a training session.
So let's move on from Keita.
Back on the Kaiser injury front though, right? Since 17-18, he's had a knock, muscular problems, a knock, groin injury, torn muscle, ill.
Irrespective of the context we're talking about here. The context is, but this is a different Keita. Is the Keita after this training program? Did he get hurt today? I don't know. If he got hurt today, then bring up those injury problems. But that is a path that we're trying to move forward from. If that recurs its head, then I believe that is relevant information. Yes, he's had injury problems.
Thank you, Chris.
But then,
what level have you actually played at though, Ben? To say you can't get fit in training sessions? Because I know footballers who've played at that level who have always said training is the most important part of the game.
Of course, training is the most important part of the game, but you don't understand. I'm talking about match fitness here. Match sharpness.
What level have you played at to know if you can get match fit in training or that? So seriously, what level have you played
at? I mean,
I'm asking you a question. What level have you played at to say that you can?
All right, we're moving on from this discussion. I muted both of you, and I'm going to keep on bringing it out.
No, but then one question I've got is though, with the complexion of the season, you got 8 big games to get into one of the biggest biggest competition in Europe. But where can you fit Naby Keita in? Next game we got Villa. We need to beat Villa now.
Before I bring the hooligans back, that we will end the Keita discussion. You both have very good points, and we're both all very angry at this defeat. But let's move on with some Keita. Talk about some of the other issues this game. I'll unmute you guys, bring you back from the void.
StreamYard.
So the midfield elsewhere. Let's talk about Wijnaldum. I know that Chris, who's not with us today, he's alive. That sounded like he was dead. He's just not in the post-match reaction.
I agree, Petrie.
I'm not. Hey, I'm gonna remove you completely if you keep on trying to undermine me as host here. Wijnaldum had a really nice move for the only goal of the match. In comparison to Keita, in comparison to Fabinho, Curtis Jones on the bench, Oxlade-Chamberlain on the bench, was he good enough?
Not today, no. But I don't think who else should play. Because at this present moment in time, Jorginho Wijnaldum was our captain. So yeah, he was awful. But who else should play? Because then you have the old age debate where Salah might throw his dummy out the Prem because he doesn't get the captaincy, like it happened last time. So who else you play? Don't drop your captain, I suppose, do you? It's just it's shit because he was.
Is he good enough a leader for Liverpool Football Club?
No, he's not a good enough leader. The captain, I've always said the captaincy should have went to someone like Robertson or Salah, who captain their own countries. But I don't think he is a good enough leader for the club. But I don't think he's a bad player. And you're seeing people in the comments here saying terminate his contract and stuff. Jorginho Wijnaldum's a Liverpool legend, whether you like it or not. Yes. And I guarantee not one person was giving him hate when he was lifting the Premier League last year at Liverpool.
He has flaws, but I think I would love if he signed a contract tomorrow, even after that bad performance.
In all honesty, though, I think this result personally is on the system rather than any individual performance, in my opinion. I think just the way we came out and we didn't have any plan against Real Madrid was very concerning for me. And I think there comes a time when we need to consider, because this has been happening all season and it's very worrying. Like the balls over the top have been coming all season since the Aston Villa 7-2 result. We kept getting balls over the top, and I think we need to start considering we need to change the system. And it's worrying that this has happened since September and we still haven't done anything to fix it. And now we're in April, coming towards the end of the season, and we're still dealing with the same problems. We need a change of system.
So
I don't think we do need a change of system. I think it's just a freak season.
But let me pose a question to you, Matt.
This system won us the Premier League and the Champions League, though.
The fact is, though, football evolves. Like, look at Guardiola. He changed up his system, and Man City are back on top again. You need to change with the times. You always need to swap and change things. You can't stick with the same tactics over and over again, especially when it's not working.
I'm in the middle of you two here because, Ben, I'm struggling to think of a match we've won this year that has not been a case of us outplaying our opponent besides the Arsenal match. If Leipzig
Spurs,
with individual error.
Spurs as well.
Spurs, okay, that's two. West
Leicester,
Ham,
the first game against Leicester, not the one where we got beat. Starts the season up until Christmas. Like, people weren't saying our system was bad when we were 6 points clear at Christmas.
We'll talk about Trent. We all love him. Best right back in the world. I don't care. If anybody tries to claim that he should be dropped, he's not the best right back in the world. You're an idiot. Is it an issue that he is so reliant, him and Robertson, on Van Dijk being in the team? We say when Van Dijk's back, they'll be able to be more free going forward and they'll be liberated. Is that a problem that you are so reliant on that one great player to make the entire attacking fullback system function at its best?
I think that argument's gone now, hasn't it? It happened months ago, so we can't really keep going back to Van Dijk.
Yeah.
We thought it was Fabinho and Henderson, but
I want to address this point. See, people are saying a full strength team works fine in the system, but what we found out towards the end of the season and towards the start of the season, when we did have a full strength team, that it wasn't working. That is why we got beat by Aston Villa 7-2.
How can you say it wasn't working when we were 6 points clear at Christmas?
Our defeat.
Forget the Aston Villa defeat. Liverpool Football Club was 6 points clear at Christmas.
If you compare our results in 2020 to 2019, there was a massive
with no fans.
We lost to Watford with fans. It was 3-0, and the same problems kept happening with balls over the top and us getting caught out on the counter attack. So it's not a thing that has just crept up in the absence of Van Dijk. I think this is going to be a theme that is still going to continue with Van Dijk. It's just going to be less worse.
I couldn't disagree more about. I think this system's perfect. Like, it's the system that's worked for us to win the Champions League, the Premier League, the Club World Cup, the Super Cup. Liverpool was 6 points clear at Christmas. There's nothing wrong with the system. The players within the system aren't performing at the minute.
Matty, let me pose this part of it. The system has a Virgil van Dijk, it has a Joel Matip or a Joe Gomez, it has a Henderson in the midfield. You don't have those players. You can't just stick
exactly. So if them players are in it though, this system works.
Yes, I
Correct.
agree. But that the players aren't here. So why aren't we changing the system to fit the players that are available?
Because then you've got to learn a whole new system. It's not that simple. It's just switch a system.
Why can't we do that? Why can't we also learn that?
Because then you need to learn 11 players to play within that system. This is Liverpool's identity. It's how they play football. We played football. This system has been a work in progress since Klopp came in, because we were very attacking when he first came in. Then we fixed our defence, and now it's just a whole system that works. To say that the system doesn't work is crazy. It's crazy.
The reason why I'm saying is because the way football works is there's a system, it works for a while, then teams find out how to tackle that system. And I'm saying teams have found us out. It's happened with Manchester City and with Guardiola, and Guardiola decided to change up his system and evolve. That's what Liverpool need to do now, regardless of who's back, who's coming back. Because I'll guarantee it, when Van Dijk comes back, we're still going to have the same problems.
No, we're not though, because when Liverpool, when there was fans in the stadium for a start, even when there was only a few thousand, Liverpool's performances this season, some of our best performances have been when fans have been there, and when we've had a full strength team. Liverpool was 6 points clear at Christmas. Was anyone prior to Christmas saying this system wasn't?
Yes.
Yeah, but was before Christmas? Was you saying Liverpool's system's not working? Yes. But you're just negative. You thought Liverpool were going to get beat 3-1 today before it even started. You're the most negative Liverpool fan I've ever met. You don't deserve supporters when we win if you don't want supporters when we lose. You're wrong. You're just wrong. I've never met a more unpassionate Liverpool fan in my life.
Matty, we're not going to have people slandering each other on here. We're not going to be disrespectful to each other. Right? Disagree all you want. Don't attack him as a fan. We're not attacking each other as fans. We're not going to abuse each other.
Any Liverpool fan who turns around and predicts Liverpool to get beat prior to a game isn't a fan in my eyes. That's just how I see it.
Or is that just realistic?
I was just giving a realistic.
But every game that you come up, Leipzig, we're going to get beat. I can't even, any other post match, we're going to get beat. These are good. Liverpool or Liverpool Football Club, they are the most successful side in English football. They are one of the greatest footballing sides we've ever seen in this team.
Yeah,
and I've never heard you once say, do you know what? This team's fucking brilliant. This is the best team you will see in your life for the next 10, 15 years.
They haven't been brilliant.
They've given us the best moments of our life, Ben. How can you say they haven't been brilliant? They've won us the Premier League. They've won us the Champions League. They've won us the Super Cup.
I'm getting the mute mic out, or the mute button out again. All right. I want you both to take a deep breath, because we're not going to have this kind of aggression in here.
You got to take those down to the system. It was 2 mistakes, wasn't it? So it's 1-1 at the end of the day. So it's the mistakes that's cost us at the end of the day.
I think Ben is ridiculously realistic, and he views the world in far too much black and white, doesn't have enough love in the world. And Matty loves his football club like it's his family. And those are not mutually exclusive things. You're both Liverpool fans, and we're all here to try and just move forward. We cannot control the match. We can only control our mood. All right, I'm bringing you boys back. So the midfield has caused a lot of very fierce debate. Let's talk about the next match. I'm not talking complete change of system, maybe just a change of formation. Firmino did not play. I think that was a mistake. Should he start in the next? Ben, stop bringing up comments that help yourself. Ben, stop.
He's only bringing up the ones that help him.
Stop, Ben.
There's loads of people here.
Ben, do you want?
Scroll up a bit, Ben.
Ben, do you want me to go a ratio of? You've been getting ratioed in these comments. Stop being selective. All right, moving forward. All right. We can all unite to hate Barnaby. Barnaby. We need to hate Barnaby here. What is Barnaby doing?
I don't think Klopp out, but I just want the system to change.
If you change the system right mid-season, it's going to be disastrous. Like if you've played any decent level of football, you'd understand that now. And that's not me saying you haven't played decent football. But what I'm saying is to change a system mid-season is crazy.
I'm not saying we should have changed the system mid-season. I'm saying these problems have been evident since the start of 2019. Since
but
we
they
lost
haven't.
And we have been ignorant. Yes, they have.
If this system wasn't working, we wouldn't have been top at Christmas. Correct? We were 6 points clear at Christmas. The reason there's no fans is a massive, massive reason as to why Liverpool are underperforming this year. If you look at when fans were brought,
leading up to Christmas either. apart from
There was a foul. Yeah, there was them games.
2 games.
But without fans, Liverpool have been notoriously worse. If you look back to even last season, the first game back against Everton, when we could have won the league at Goodison, or could have come very, very close to it, we were shite because there was no fans.
Change. I'm just saying we need slight tweaks in the system, and I hope in pre-season we're going to see a slightly different. Like look at Guardiola. He didn't make a radical change to City. He just adapted the system, a little tweak, a tiny little bit of a tweak, and now they're firing again. I'm not saying we need radical changes, and I'm not saying we should get rid of all our players. I'm just saying just something, a little tweak to counter the issues that we are facing now, because we have faced them since almost 2 years now. Well,
but then on that, we had 95 minutes of football there, and we weren't a better team. It's not about system. You change the system, we still have players like Wijnaldum, Kabak, hitting it 40 yards out of play. It's not going to change it. System's fine. We can talk about systems.
I think the thing is, I think the problem is it's fine when you have just a couple of individuals not performing, but today, and for a lot of the times this season, the whole team hasn't performed. There's been so many times when the whole team hasn't performed, and when it comes down to that, you have to question the system, because if it's just 1 or 2 individuals, it's fine. But can we honestly say like Jack said, no one played well today, and so you have to blame the system, in my opinion.
It's the players in the system as well. So like what Matty's about to say, if we want to stay, the system's fine. But then it's the same system. We had 11, 14 players who came on and didn't make an ounce of difference. We had Thiago come on and make a slight bit of difference. You got players like Fabinho, who's passengers getting legs around the whole pitch. You got Mane dropping to the floor after every touch from a defender. It's just spineless. It's not about the system. The players need to step up in these types of things. We want to be winning 7 and winning the Premier League every season, stuff like that. But if you go into games against some of the biggest teams in the world and just go into your shell and just capitulate like that, you're not going to win anything. And that's what needs to be highlighted. Not about systems. You got to talk about which players haven't played well today, and none of them have, and that's fair enough. None of them have. But like slagging off the system, which has worked for 19, 18 months, isn't going to change it.
Here's what I want to bring up. So this is the common thing I'm seeing. These are the slight tweaks that need to happen. Van Dijk and Gomez back. I agree. System's great with Van Dijk and Gomez. There are no disagreements here that it is great. We'll lose some matches. I disagree with Ben in that regard. You'll lose some ones to like Villa. That was a fluke match. You may lose to Atletico. You got outplayed. Watford, you just kind of had an off day. What do you do today, April 6th, against Real Madrid if you don't have Van Dijk and Gomez? It is delusional, insanity to expect Kabak and Phillips to protect Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold in the same way. And if you can't protect them in the same way, you're going to be exposed. Trent's making more individual errors. Robertson's a lot quieter of a player. The midfield is having to do more work. Thiago's not being able to be himself, and Fabinho has a lot more work to do. It is a problem overall.
We keep going back though to this whole about like Van Dijk being back. Virgil van Dijk's the best centre half to ever play the game of football, in my opinion. I'm his biggest fan. However, you can't sit and say it's all down to Van Dijk being injured while Liverpool have been poor this season. It hasn't been the defence, it's been the attack. If you look at our defensive record since Van Dijk has been out, we haven't been terrible. We have not been terrible. Today, our best player was Kabak, by far. So I feel as though they are doing a job. Nat Phillips has been, he got player of the month this month, rightfully so. I don't think it's the attack. I don't think it's the defence. I think it's more the attack that needs tweaking. Trent Alexander-Arnold's having the worst season of his life. He is. Trent hasn't been good at all this season. He's had a few good games within the season. Does he deserve to get dropped for England? I don't really give a fuck about England, so I'm not asked. But Trent is still the best right back in the world. However, I think him having a bad season and Robertson having a bad season is what's affected Liverpool massively this year. I don't think Van Dijk being injured a massive blow.
Can I be a devil's advocate? The fact that Robertson and Alexander-Arnold haven't been as effective could also be down to the system that we're playing.
Ben, this system won us the champ. I don't know what football team you've watched for the last 2 years. However,
what I'm saying is, I'm going to bring in another fact about the system. Is when Klopp was at Dortmund, the system worked for a couple of years, but then he had the same injury crisis in his last season as he did now, So I'm saying, is this system more prone to injuries over
It's
time?
more intense, so obviously that's just common sense. But
Yeah, exactly. So
Let
It
me
came from the
ask-
start of his tenure as
you
well.
keep
That
saying-
hamstring coach from Holland, he was always slagging Klopp off. But then the system doesn't stop Trent Alexander-Arnold heading it to Asensio's feet and knocking it over Alisson. It doesn't do that. So he was going to go wasting time. You're talking about the system. Jack, move on.
Before you move on, Jack, I want to ask Ben one thing. You're moaning about this system. When we won the Champions League, did you say anything about the system? Yeah or no? Simple. No. When we won the Premier League last year, did you say anything about the system? Probably not.
Working, Matty.
Matty, do you?
No, but
when
you're
the
missing
cars
key
were
players
around-
out the system.
When cars were invented, did you say, well, horses have been great for so long, they got me to my restaurant every time I needed to go there? Sometimes
I don't think the system. I honestly believe you play this system next year with a full fit Liverpool team and fans in that ground, we win the league again. To say the system isn't working is mad. If we would have won today, the system wouldn't have been mentioned.
Yeah, of course.
It would have worked, but today it didn't.
So
work.
it hasn't worked for one game. Now we need to change the whole system. Play 5-2-3-1, whatever you want to play, and maybe
not worked. It hasn't just not worked for one game.
But at the end of the day, Klopp's just the manager. There's 11 players on the pitch who have their own minds, who have their own ways of playing football. They need to change on the pitch. Klopp can't go on there, throw a pair of studs on and go, do you know what, I'm going to bet one top ins. You can't do that.
The players did not show up today. They frankly did not play with enough passion. The system could have been perfect, and it could have been perfectly tactically organized to play against Madrid. But if the players don't show up,
I'm still going to Istanbul.
But if the players don't show up, you can't do anything. I think we're making very good arguments, but I'm going to have to jump in. If anybody in this comment section is abusing any one of us or any of you other people for having different views, this is not your stream. Leave. Do that somewhere else. I'm not going to have that. We're going to disagree, and guess what? That's what's going to happen. We're going to move on after that. So let's move on to other topics. I don't want to move on from this match yet before we talk about the next one. I think there's still some other things to talk about. Talk about the front three a bit. We've talked a lot about the midfield and the defense. Talked a bit about Mane being just below his level that he has been at. Salah got the goal. Was he good elsewhere?
No.
That's the thing. No one, you can't really ask that question. If I get up the stats, how many shots on target did we have? One. The goal. It's not. You just aren't into it, and it's. You can't pinpoint it. It's one of them things. Liverpool weren't at the races today, and they weren't creating. The piling forward. I put it in the group chat. No one's getting in the box because we're trying to combat other places around the pitch. We need to get in the box and bust the guts. Just get in the box and score goals. Maybe Salah did well elsewhere, but positionally they were all swapping around, and then sometimes they were leaving Trent 2-on-1, sometimes leaving Robertson 2-on-1. It's just one of them things where the creativity it's not there, but then. They can't do anything else. Just like passengers, it's like if Alisson's in goal and then he score 6 goals, they're all world class. You can't really say anything about Alisson, can you? The defence had a good game, apart from the 2 fullbacks who didn't really have much else option because it was 2 mistakes that cost us. And then we're fighting a losing battle in the end, aren't we?
Yeah. Anything else on Salah?
I think you attack as a team, defend as a team, and for me, he doesn't get back enough. Fundamentals of football, that attack as a team, defend as a team, you win as one, you lose as one, and for me, he doesn't get back enough. And sometimes, I mean, to be fair to Salah today, it felt like he passed more to Mane than he has done all season. But I just think that you attack as a team, defend as a team, and Salah for me just doesn't like getting back. He's just more bothered about his bonuses he gets for scoring goals. So
I won't say that he only cares about the money, but I think that his defensive contributions are definitely a bit lacking. Ben, anything on the front three from you?
Sorry, what was the question?
Anything on the front three from you, Ben?
I'm just going to stick with what I believe, and I think the reason why the front four isn't working is because teams have found out how to defend against us, and it's as simple as that. They're not getting the same space as they used to before, and they're just running up against brick walls all the time.
But on Jota, on Jota, because he scored a few headers, we're all trying to put balls into him and Mane, winning headers. It's kind of what we're resorting to in the end. It's back to the plan B that we used to have when we're playing against the low block. He's getting his head on it fair enough to Jota, but we can't rely on Jota to score headers 6 and 7 times. We tried with Carroll under Rodgers. It didn't work. Is it? I don't know. We're not creating enough, and then we're sticking to one-dimensional stuff. We want.
But wouldn't you say the fact that we're not creating enough is down to the system?
I'm not talking about the system anymore.
Here's what I'll say is
this comment, by the way, Prime TAA. I actually proper like Salah. There's a video about me saying why he's the best attacker in the last 20 years for Liverpool. I just think he needs to defend more.
Yeah. Year on year, last couple of years, Liverpool have been crossing the ball more, scoring less in the midfield, and it's having a knock-on effect on the forwards. That's how I view it. If you have an over-reliance on Salah, on Mane, on Firmino, and on Jota now to score goals, without getting goals from elsewhere, I mean, yeah, those are 4 world-class forwards, and they should be scoring a lot of goals. It's going to lead to them when they're off form, the entire team feels off form. Anything else for this match before we move and look forward to the next one against Villa and then one after that against Madrid? Any other last thoughts on today's performance? Steve, I'll start with you.
No, we just need to be better across the pitch. I think the players need to dig in a bit deeper and not go into games taking 10, 15 minutes to get into the swing of things. They need to be on it from the first whistle. But it's easy said than done.
I think it's just best we move on from this game because there's no point, let's just move on.
Matty?
Don't deserve supporters when we lose if you don't support us when we win. And we don't deserve supporters when we win if you don't support us when we lose. That's what I meant.
Something like that, yeah. The essence was there. So next up on Saturday or Sunday, I forget, is against
Saturday.
Saturday?
3 o'clock, yeah.
All right, Yui has settled the debate. It's over. All right, time to move on from that argument there.
I mean, I can see other people were saying I was talking sense, but...
And I'm seeing Chris talking about random stuff to try and deflate the mood. So we will call it a draw. All right. Hey, Ben, I'm gonna remove you.
I can go up them and find well more. Ben is clueless. Ben thought Liverpool would get beat 3-1 before the game, by the way, people watching.
And if I'm clueless, then I would have got that prediction wrong, but I was right.
Looking through stats, Ben doesn't show nothing, really. You're a City fan in disguise, let's be honest. Everyone else agrees in the comments. So
one person said that in the comments.
We're not going to abuse.
If I was a City fan, I would want Liverpool to lose.
Which every post-match and pre-match you do, you say we're going to get beat.
I want Liverpool to do well. That's why I'm proposing a new system, because I want us to be the best that we can be.
What system? It's not Football Manager or FIFA. What system works? What system should Liverpool change to now that would win us the Champions League? That's what instead of saying new system, tell us what works.
I'm not the manager of Liverpool Football Club, though.
But you seem to know the new system would work, so tell us what system would work. That's what I want to know.
I'm just talking about logically speaking. Look, nothing is working right now.
Maybe it's more game plans then to play against different kinds of teams. Now
a game plan or something. We need little tweaks. We need to prepare better against our opponents because we came to Real Madrid, one of the best teams in the world, and it looked like we had absolutely zero plans whatsoever. We just turned up like it was a training match, and we expected to win.
I agree. We need to do this. Match previews. I'm just going to leave them in a StreamYard.
Wait till you see us getting going on this Conference League. That is one you want to watch.
Oh my god! that. Oh no! That. Okay. Anyways, before we drag ourselves into the Conference League debate, so Villa is up next. Grealish is slightly injured for them. Don't know if he's going to be there for them, or if he's even going to be 100% if he is there. Are we optimistic for Villa? And should maybe not a system change? Should players be swapped out? What needs to change before the Villa match, and how are we feeling for that?
I think Naby Keita needs to be dropped, and Thiago needs to come in.
Jota still start for you, Matty?
Yeah.
Firmino?
I think I'd start Firmino ahead of Gini.
So
in a 4-2-3-1. Yeah.
So a system change?
No, a system change, a formation change.
Ben,
I'll throw a kit. I'll go Ben.
I mean, arguably that is a system change, kind of.
No.
It's a formation change.
Do not poke the bear. The bear is sleeping. Steve, you talk.
I think just to throw a curveball, we just stay with the same system. See if you can. Obviously, Aston Villa are a complete different team to Real Madrid, but see if it works. See if Keita wants to start. Then
Chedu, you need to
Formation change.
Stop provoking him, Chedu. Stop provoking him. Maddie's ready. Every time Ben talks, I just see Maddie slowly like farther away from the mic, just zooming in, ready to just pounce like a viper. It's
properly wound me up that you said we'd get beat before the game. Like, for me, right, if I'm sat in the ground and if I go to the match, I'm sat there and someone turned around to me and went, think we're going to get beat today, lads. It's just like, why the fuck have you watched the game then? Do you know what I mean? Like, Liverpool Football Club, you expect Liverpool to win every single game.
When people ask me for my prediction, though, I'm going to give my honest opinion about the game, and that doesn't mean
you should never ever force in your mind that Liverpool will lose a game. It should never ever come. I don't know if it's just different. Steve's probably the same. I don't know if it's just we're dragged up in Liverpool that you have to just make sure that you win every game. But I could never ever let the words come out my mouth that I think we'd get beat. There's been plenty of games this year like Liverpool have been battered, and I've sat here and said, I think we'll win 4-0, because I strongly believe every game that this football club goes into, we win.
And I strongly believe that. And you know what that makes you, Matty? That makes you a fan. And you know what?
Makes me a scouser.
Exactly. And you know what Ben's pessimism and fear of defeat makes him a fan. We're fans all together. We just have different ways of being it.
Why can't I expect us to win every game? No, we pretty much won every game last year.
I disagree with that. Expecting to win every game versus real. No, wait, that's wrong. I'm just tripping myself up now. Back to Villa. We've been dragged back.
Get to Liverpool, lad. Well, why are you on a Liverpool fan channel slagging people from Liverpool off? Fucking muppet.
We're all fans, and we're all fans in different ways. So Villa, Keita. I think he, in my eyes, actually, I think it might be a good chance for him to almost redeem himself. I don't think I'm ready to give up on him yet. I've said that already. I think against Villa, who, if they don't have Grealish, it'll still be a tough midfield battle. It's not like we're tossing him against Sheffield United. It'd be tough, but I think that he could actually try and get some more back into the flow of things. And I'm not going to sit here and claim that Naby Keita can recapture his Leipzig days. If he can't prove it in Liverpool, sure. He's wearing the number 8. That has a lot of weight on it. And if he can't prove that, then but I want him to give him many chances to prove. Drop Mane, IMO.
I agree. Mane. I think he needs to be. I think he needs a break. I think, especially because I don't think when Firmino came on, he was quite decent. I think he was decent on the ball. And I think if it was another game, he probably would have impacted the match better, but no one else was really performing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Mane just looked sloppy the whole game. He kept losing the ball, and he didn't really. And he's looked a bit like that for a long time now. And I'm surprised he hasn't been getting dropped.
Steve.
Yeah, I'll just go on record and say I'm not really a big cheese fan. Cheese on pizza is probably as far as I'll go, just to answer Chris's question.
Chris has been asking that question for solid 20 minutes now, so I'm glad you finally addressed that.
I don't know, because if you drop Keita straight away, then there's an argument for Jota. He's obviously been scoring, but coming on the sub, but he didn't really do himself justice starting from the beginning, did he? But so I've got to see Aston Villa as a new game, and just try and right the wrongs, and got to treat it as a must. Every game now is just a must win. It's obviously the cliche that we've been saying for the last 10, 15 games, but it's not much you can even do. It's just a system or whatever else. They just need to put in the performances and make it show on the pitch. And I just don't even know.
So I want to raise a different. So this is a team I just wrote out. Potentially, this could be a 4-2-3-1. Thiago Fabinho pivot in the midfield. Same back four. You play. I don't know if you have Salah up front, Jota. That can be changed. That's just the general players that might play in a potential starting 11. Should Klopp start a strong team like that in the Premier League, or should he rest a few players to try and come back in the Champions League?
I think we have to challenge on all fronts, really.
Can we do that? Can we realistically expect them to do that?
I think we're going to have to try, because at the end of the day, even if we go further in the Champions League, we still got 3 potentially very difficult matches to secure top 4 spot. Whereas our running, if you look at our running for the top 4 in the Premier League right now, you'd fancy us to get that top 4 out of all the teams. If you look at West Ham's next fixtures, if you look at Leicester's, if you look at Tottenham's and Chelsea's, they all still got to play the likes of City and all that. Whereas we only have, I think, United left to play out of the top 4 or the top 6, if I'm correct. So you've got to kind of fancy us in that top 4 race. We're only 3 points off the top 4. And I think, I don't know, I fancy our chances of getting the top 4 through the Premier League more at the moment than the Champions League.
Matty, Steve, you agree that all comps?
But it's always been a thing, hasn't it? We had this argument about the Conference League. You can't just rest up and try and lose the rest of the games. You've got to go out on all fronts. But then tiredness comes in, so we get beat we get beat next Wednesday. I think why don't we rest players for Aston Villa? So it's a lose-lose situation. It's go out on all fronts, try and win stuff. But I don't know what else we can really say. Liverpool needs to start pulling the finger out.
Yeah, Matty.
I still think we win the Champions League and get top 4. See, right, Liverpool come back, but wait there. Forget fans a sec, right? Barcelona or Real Madrid, who's the better side?
Barcelona, I think.
I rest my case. It's coming home.
So we'll talk about that Madrid match again, I guess. So if I don't expect Klopp to play this formation, I don't think he would ever do that. That would be fascinating, seeing Ben on the touchline. I mean,
Matty would hate me.
Oh my God, Matty would be yelling Boshak, yelling Boshak out. Day one.
Better change the system after 2 games, after 2 defeats.
They fall to defeat, and he's like, "All right, lads, we're trying something different. We're going from a tiki-taka to a gegenpressing system."
I actually played football today, so.
Liam in the mud. Real Madrid match, second leg. Will we learn from this defeat? Will we improve for the next one?
Yeah. I think realistically we only need to win 2-0. I know it's all if buts and maybes, but we only really need to win 2-0, don't we? And keep a clean sheet. Get Fortress Anfield back to how it was. Get the fans outside, a few fireworks and that. Get the Copperberg bottles out, and we go again.
Exactly. That's the first time I'm going to agree with Matty today. I think at the end of the day, we lost 3-1 and we were utterly atrocious. But if we're looking forward, it's another game. And 3-1 is not the worst result at the end of the day. I think Varane and Ramos will both be missing. So we really have to take our chances and really exploit that back four, because we didn't do any of that in this game. And I think we're still in the game. It's not over yet. We've done it before. We've come back against better teams as well, like Matty said. So
get on it, Ben.
I wouldn't write us off just yet.
You know what? I agree with Anthony.
We made our job a lot more difficult. It could have been a lot simpler. It would have been nice if that third goal didn't go in as well. But at the end of the day, 2 goals when this Liverpool team are playing at their best, at their peak, we can easily score 2 goals against Militao and Nacho. Let's be honest.
We just got to expect the negative football, haven't we?
It's how many of that team actually plays against us as well. Realistically, how many more of them are going to have COVID? They've all been on the flight over here with Varane.
God, think about how many of our players might have gotten COVID potentially. I can't believe the match actually happened. I'm not going to lie.
When you think about it from that point of view, this probably shouldn't have happened. But it's the same as last year. The Atletico match shouldn't have happened because the Atletico match absolutely fucked Liverpool in terms of COVID cases and stuff. Yeah. So, if any of their players, it's just Liverpool's luck this season, isn't it? That José, Mane, and Salah and Firmino are all going to have COVID because of Varane.
Yeah, I think this is something. If he doesn't do, then I question his ability.
How long does it take for COVID symptoms to show? Because let's say they caught it, it can take up to 10, 12 days for
3-4
symptoms.
days usually is what I've heard.
Gone from LFC transfer room to LFC waiting room here.
Yeah.
So let's hope, that they won't test positive until the game. They can test after, and then have the 2 weeks off, and then I think they'll still be available for Chelsea, who will potentially play next. So that's just
Fingers with Varane. No, it could also have been a negative test, like a false positive. So we could still play next week. I don't think we completely rule him out of the game.
I hope
next
that's the case. Honestly, I hope that is the case, because less risk for Liverpool players. I mean, I don't want us to win off of the back of a player falsely getting COVID. That would just, I don't know. I'd love winning, but I'd be kind of like,
to be fair, like the commentators said, Varane made a few mistakes against City when he did play last year, so might not be the end of the world if it does play.
Let us know in the comments your prediction for both the Villa match on Saturday and the Real Madrid match next week.
I actually think because of Varane's absence, Real kind of sat back for a lot of the game, and I think that kind of helped them out in the end. I don't think I'm going to give kind of like an anti-point against my system comment, but I think the way Real sat back probably surprised Klopp, because they don't really tend to do that in La Liga. They're always playing on the front foot, and it worked to their benefit. It's whether how we're going to counter that, because at the end of the day, Real scored their goals through their counter attacks, and us needing to score will provide them the perfect opportunity to, counter us again, and it will leave us vulnerable at the back. So it's going to be an interesting tie to see how it works out. It's not over until it's over, so I wouldn't give up there.
I like that mentality. Matty, both Villa and Madrid. I don't think I've ever heard you have a prediction where the other side scores a goal. So I'm wondering if that's going to stay consistent for the Villa and Madrid match.
Yeah. Is Grealish still out for the Villa game?
I don't think he's 100%, if at all. I'm not sure, though.
I reckon we batter Aston Villa. I reckon there's a bit of momentum going through in the Prem at the minute. I reckon that 7-2 is a fluke. I really do. Like, look how much they fell off this season now since that. I think we batter Villa, and I think we beat Real Madrid 3-1, 3-2, something like that in the next round. I think we get through. We get Porto in the semis, we batter them, and then I'd love Man City in the final to batter them. I honestly believe we get top 4 and we win the Champions League. When Liverpool lost to Barcelona, I booked flights to Madrid and we won. So I might go and book my flight to Istanbul now and we might win.
Matty, I'm not saying that the entire city of Liverpool is asking you to do that, but the entire city is asking you to do that. Steve, your predictions for Villa and Madrid, confidence level from you?
Well, I'm probably on Ben's level of pessimism here. He's got to expect what we have done for the last few games at home, haven't we? It's going to be a hard slog, and they might just get a half chance and bury it and be 1-0. But just can't do what we've done today and just sit there for 15 minutes and just, like as I was saying in the group before, like putting your foot in, testing the water. It's going to be fucking freezing by the time we get to the game. It's just, we need to go out there, all guns blazing, and be the ruthless, relentless Liverpool that we know. And you just got to carry on. You need that fear factor back. And if you go to an empty Anfield, there's going to be that all the talk now going into Saturday. Like, oh yeah, they haven't won at Anfield since, was it December 16th now when we played Tottenham. It's just going to keep carrying on. So we just need to go in there and just be what Real Madrid done. Just be horrible. That's what we need to be. We need to just have 11 Thiagos on the pitch going around, stamping, elbow and pinching people. Just be the proper bellends that we need to be. Because it needs, like, it's getting to that stage now where it's going to be one of them seasons where we think, what could have been. We like that 6 points clear at the top of the league. It's going to be what could have been at the end of the day anyway. But we just need to got 8 games left to salvage the season and then another 90 minutes against Madrid. So it's now or never really. And then next season we'll either be paying for the consequences of falling off and just sitting on our asses waiting for the summer to come, or we go in thinking, right, we just about got there through the skin of our teeth here. Let's push on and rebuild or evolutionise, whatever you want to call it, in the summer. But take each game as it comes. I'd like to say 2-1 for Aston Villa. Real Madrid, it's going to be similar to today, especially with a 2-goal cushion. They're going to be sat on the 6-yard box the whole time, and then I reckon it's been probably going to go down in Matty's estimations here. It'll probably be 1-0. I reckon we'll just narrowly miss out.
Do you know what? They're right. If we narrowly miss out and we win 1-0 at Anfield, I wouldn't be. I'd be devastated, but I think we just need to get back to winning at Anfield, to be honest. And I think a lot of some of the players, like you think back when Robbo against Messi, like he was just a cunt. Why has that gone out the team? Do you know what I mean? Like it just feels like the fires, because they've done everything, and like the fire's not there anymore because there's no fans there. Let's not forget, like imagine playing in that Liverpool team, winning the trophy that every single fans wanted to win for 30 years, and then not being able to celebrate with the fans. They won't even be able to parade it now because we'd look like fools parading that round when City are parading theirs. So it's crap. I can understand why players have lost heart a bit, and I half feel so this season's just a fluke season and it'll never happen again. Forza Porto win the Champions League or something.
Well,
I think in terms of my predictions, I think, like we say before every game now, and this whole run-up is, I think these 2 games are going to decide our season. I honestly believe that with Aston Villa, it's a great opportunity to get revenge on the 7-2, get us a bit of a moral boost, a bit of a confidence, going into that Real Madrid game. And then with the Real Madrid game, it's the same thing. If we get into the semi-finals, even if we don't get the top 4 this year, it's going to be a sort of statement of intent. Like, it's going to prove to the players that they are good enough. Like, look, we've managed to reach the semi-finals of the tournament, and we can win the league and we can succeed.
that's what I'm hearing, Ben. That's what I'm hearing. Those are your predictions?
In terms of score predictions, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to sit on the fence for that one. All I'm saying is we're going to come up against 2 counter-attacking sides, and we really need to watch out for that line, and we really need to be on top and watch out for those fast. The likes of Watkins, the likes of Vinicius Jr., we need to be on our top game, and we need to find a way to counter that. And I hope it happens.
His comments spot on.
Back onto Keita. Klopp said it was tactical. He came off. He was not good in the game. I could have made a few more changes in that moment.
Do you think that helps Keita as well, though? Because look at the reaction of Hudson-Odoi gave Tuchel when he done it to him.
Yeah. It's all about his reaction to it. I think he could take it as a positive and say, "All right, I'm going to step up."
I mean, if you look at the way he came off, he looked annoyed when he came off. He looked pissed.
But it's like if Klopp said pretty much Klopp said he looked good in training. That's why he had to pick him. But what's he seen it? What kind of training levels he put it in there? Like he had that, like we said earlier, he had that glimpse where he burst through the thing and got clattered. But bar that, he just went missing. And then
I think it was just too soon, and he was a bit out of his depth. I mean, he is coming up against Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro, who have been playing together for half a decade now, and they know each other inside and out. It's hard to play against those kind of players, just in general, even for a world-class player. And I think Keita just got found out there.
I think if he can maintain his fitness, he could be a very good midfielder for us. Maybe not starting quality, but I mean, he's just different than what we currently have as options. So I'm hopeful.
I think some of Klopp's decisions today. I love Klopp, the best manager we've seen since Paisley, in my opinion. But I think some of his decisions in some games this season have been a bit mad. Like, I don't understand why Kabak got brought off. What was the need in that?
Yeah.
Even like Shaqiri coming on, like you're trying to get a goal and you bring Shaqiri on. Like, come on.
It was damage limitation by the time that third went in, especially when you can see Kroos pinging balls across to the far side and he's unmarked. And even Sellers there going like that, throwing his arms about, because it was just like it was an exhibition in the end, wasn't it? Just to try and save any sort of reasonable damage.
I mean, Firmino, when he's on top form, the Firmino of the past few seasons, if he starts, I think he's eliminating Kroos's threat all day long. I think in the next game, I'd like to see Firmino almost man Mark Cruz out of the game.
Because that's what they done, wasn't it? You had the three in front of the back four, and then let us press, and then you just knock 2 free balls past us, and then the gaps was in behind.
I'd start Bobby ahead of Genie. Give Bobby the armband.
I think they played
the longest saving player, wouldn't he?
We played into their hands in the end, didn't we?
Who is the longest saving player then? If Genie drops out and Bobby did start in that role, is it Bobby?
I think it might be.
Yeah,
Well, Trent, if it
Trent.
taking academy into account.
He said, Klopp said Trent shouldn't have had it against Mitchell, didn't he? He said it should have been Divock. And like he'd worked it out wrong. But I genuinely, I would love to see Bobby play instead of Wijnaldum in the return leg, but I can't see it because Wijnaldum's got the armband.
I think that's too attacking for me personally to go. I mean, we kind of have to, but at the same time,
he's got to drop from the false 9 to the 10 now, hasn't he? Because he doesn't really offer much in that 9 position. We need an out and out 9. We need someone in behind the striker if we have one.
Yeah.
I liked him against Arsenal.
I'd like to see maybe Jota and Salah up front and Bobby dropping in behind, but still a 3 in midfield because we cannot. I feel like if we play, we're still disrespecting that Madrid midfield 3 of Modric, Cruz, and Casemiro. If we
personally, wouldn't you drop Mane though before you drop Genie?
Yeah, I think
that's what I said. Drop Mane, play 2 up top, Firmino in behind. And then 3 in midfield.
Yeah. Completely lost my train of thought.
But on that point, if we do go to 3 midfield and the Wyman exposed, then that's the whole point of having the 3 because they can support the fullbacks, can't they?
Sorry, I think in that return leg, the winning
we're
the back.
We're already playing with a midfield 3.
No, but they make of the front 3. They support the fullbacks, don't they? But then if you take the Wyman off.
Don't you think if you drop back though to a 2 with Bobby behind, like what Ben's saying, in a sense that is better against Real Madrid because they don't play wide. We've seen today their midfield do not get dragged out wide. They just do not go wide. So I feel as though, going wide you could probably win the game, but it hasn't worked today. So maybe going down the middle, being a bit more direct. And let's be honest, if we go full pedal against their midfield, they're not going to be able to sustain it for 90 minutes. The energy levels. The reason they did today is because for 45 minutes, Liverpool looked like they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Is Matty agreeing with my system change?
No. We need to change the formation, not system.
Change the formation for Aston Villa, and if it works, play for Real Madrid. See how it goes.
Yeah. I would like to trial that system.
Because it's got nothing to lose now. Second leg, we've got nothing to lose apart from.
Well, that 4-3-1-2 we played against Sheffield United, didn't we? I know it was only Sheffield United. But...
I liked that formation against Sheffield. That was I liked that. All right, boys. This has been a tremendous stream. Any last thoughts before we wrap up? Matty, I'll let you give your last thoughts.
Bill Shankly once said, if you don't support us when we lose, you don't deserve to support us when we win. Remember that.
Yes, sir. Ben, last thoughts.
Keep supporting Liverpool. I want us to be the best, and that's it. Hopefully we can turn our fortunes around in the next 2 games.
Steve?
Not a big fan of cheese. Not from South Liverpool, from North Liverpool. We'll be back, don't worry. Forza Liverpool.
I guess all.
That was funny that they were it before you go, Jack. That was funny that you were saying about Stevie from South Liverpool, saying I was from Kirby when I'm actually from South Liverpool and Steve's from North Liverpool.
Not saying where I'm from. I am the wall of the group, to be honest.
See, I almost agree with this. Like, this was a tremendously passionate, tremendous post game. I hated it though because we lost. I don't enjoy these. They're great when we lose because I guess there's more to talk about almost. But we lost, so it's like.
People prefer them when you get beat. I can guarantee most of the people who were in it today probably weren't even Liverpool fans because, like, I watch AFTV when they get beat, but when they win, don't turn that on. So, one of them things, isn't it?
Well, gentlemen,
I hope they enjoyed themselves.
Yes. Well, as always, you guys, I appreciate your time, your passion, your insight. I mean, it wouldn't be this enjoyable, wouldn't be this insightful if you guys didn't care about the club. With all your heart. So as always, thank you for your time. To everyone who interacted, really appreciate you guys. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We're going to have a lot of content leading up to the Villa match where we're going to win. We're going to go through. We're going to win number 7, and you're going to be able to support us when we win. We won't have to worry about this when we lose. crap. You're going to support us when we win. Number 7's on the way. But as always, guys, I appreciate your time. For myself, Jack, for Matty, for Steve, was pointing every which way in the corner. Subscribe. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram. Read our stuff at lfctransfer.com. It has been LFC Transfer.
Not si.com now, but yeah.
Take care.